Hello, students. We are going to start chapter 4, The Rat Trap. It is written by Selma Lagerlöf. She was a Swedish writer whose stories have been translated into many languages. The story is set in the middle of the mines of Sweden, which are rich in iron ore. The story is narrated in the manner of a fairy tale. It gives us the message that the emotion of love and acceptance can reform others. The theme of the story is that most human beings are prone to fall into the trap of material benefit. However, every human being has an essential goodness that can be awakened through understanding and love. A human being has a tendency to redeem himself from dishonest ways. Let's start the chapter. So, our chapter starts with a rat trap seller. Once there was a man who went around selling small rat traps of wire. He made them himself, but his own business was not profitable, so he had to beg and steal a bit to keep himself alive. His clothes were in rags, his cheeks were sunken, and hunger could be noticed in his eyes. His life was sad and monotonous. He had no company. One day he was struck by an idea that the whole world was nothing but a big rat trap. It set baits for people by offering riches and joys, shelter and food, heat and clothing, exactly as rat trap offered cheese and pork. As soon as anyone let himself be tempted to touch the bait, the rat trap closed in on him, and then everything came to an end. One dark evening, he was walking slowly with a heavy steps when he saw a little grey cottage by the roadside. He knocked at the door to ask for the shelter that night. The owner was an old man. He had no wife or children. He was happy to get someone to talk. He served him porridge for supper and gave him tobacco for his pipe. Then he got an old pack of cards and played jollies with his guest till the bed. The host had been a crofter at Ramsjo Iron Works. In his days of prosperity, he had worked in the land. Now he was unable to do the labor. It was his cow that supported him. The extraordinary cow could give milk for creamery every day. He informed the stranger that last month he had received all of the 30 kroner in payment. The crofter showed his guest 3 wrinkled 10 kroner bills, which he had taken out of a leather pouch hanging on the nail in the window frame. The next day both men got up early. The crofter was in a hurry to milk his cow. The other man did not want to stay in bed when his host had got up. They left the cottage at the same time. The crofter locked the door and put the key in his pocket. The man with the rat trap said goodbye and thanked his host and went away. Half an hour later, the rat trap seller returned. He broke a window pane, stuck in his hand, and got hold of the pouch with the 30 kroners. He took out the money and thrust it into the pocket. Then he hung the leather pouch very carefully back in its place and went away. He felt pleased with his smartness. Then he realized that he dared not touch the public highway. So he took the woods. He got into a big confusing forest. He kept on walking without coming to the end of the forest. He realized that he had only been walking around in the same part of the forest. He thought that he had let himself be fooled by the bait and had been caught. The whole forest seemed to him like an impenetrable prison from which he could never escape. It was late in December. Darkness increased. The danger as also his gloom and despair. He sank down on the road and was quite tired. He heard the sound of hammer strokes. He summoned all his strength, got up and staggered in the direction of the sound. He reached forge, where the master smith and his helper sat near the furnace, waiting for the pig iron to be ready to put in anvil. There were many sounds. Big bellows groaned, burning cloak. The fire boy shoveled charcoal with great deal of clatter. The waterfall roared. The sharp north wind whipped the rain against the brick tiled roof. On account of all these noises, the blacksmith did not notice the man had opened the gate and entered the forge until the stranger stood close to the furnace. The ironmaster saw this person in dirty clothes. The blacksmith glanced only the casual and indifferent as an intruder with a long beard, dirty ragged, and with bunch of rat traps dangling on his chest. The peddler asked for the permission to stay. The master blacksmith nodded a haughty consent without saying a word. Just then the ironmaster, who owned Ramsjo Iron Mill, came into the forge on one of his nightly rounds of inspection. The ironmaster saw the person. He was in dirty clothes and had moved so close to the furnace that steam was rising from his wet rags. He walked close to him, looked at him very carefully. Then he tore off his hat, which had wide flexible brim, to get a better view of his face. He called him Nils Olof and wondered how he looked. The man with rat traps had never seen the ironmaster at Ramsjo and did not even know what his name was. He thought that ironmaster might perhaps throw his old acquaintance a couple to kroner. So he did not tell him that he was mistaken. The ironmaster observed that he should not have resigned from regiment. Then he asked the stranger to come up home. The tramp did not agree. He thought the 30 kroner. Going up to the manor house would be like throwing himself into the lion's den. The ironmaster assumed that he felt embarrassed because of his miserable clothing. He said that his wife, Elizabeth, was dead. His boys were abroad and only his oldest daughter was with him. He invited the stranger to spend Christmas with them. The stranger said no, thrice. The ironmaster told the blacksmith that Captain von Stell preferred to stay with him that night. He laughed to himself and went away. Half an hour later, the sound of carriage wheels was heard outside the forge. The ironmaster's daughter came there, followed by a valet. Carrying a big fur coat, she introduced herself as Edla Wilmanson. She noticed that the man was afraid. She thought that either he had stolen something or he had escaped from jail. She, however, assured him that he would not be allowing anybody to come and interrupt him. She addressed him as Captain and requested him to stay with them over Christmas Eve. She said that in such a friendly manner that the rat trap peddler agreed to go with her. The fur coat was thrown over his rags and he followed the young lady to the carriage. On the way, the peddler thought why he had taken fellow's money. He was sitting in the trap and would never get out of it. Just then the stranger entered a good-looking suit of clothes. Next day, it was a Christmas Eve. The ironmaster came into dining room for breakfast. He thought of his old regiment comrade, whom he had met unexpectedly. He felt satisfied and talked of feeding him well and giving him some honorable job. His daughter remarked that last night she did not notice anything about him to show that he had once been an educated man. The ironmaster asked her to have patience and let him get cleaned, dressed up. Then he would see something different. The tramp manners would fall away from him with the tramp's clothes. Next day he was offered a good suit, white shirt with a starched collar and whole shoes. Although he was well groomed, the ironmaster did not seem pleased. He realized that he had made a mistake last night. Now in broad daylight, it was impossible to mistake him as old acquaintance. The stranger made no attempt to dissemble. He explained that it was not his fault. He had never pretended to be anything but a poor trader. He had requested the ironmaster to let him stay in the forge. He was ready to put his rags and go away. The ironmaster began to laugh. He dropped the idea of informing the sheriff. The ironmaster thought it was not honest on the part of man to want to call the sheriff. The tramp then told the ironmaster that the whole world was nothing but big rat trap. All the gold things that were offered to him were nothing but cheese, rinds, and bits of pork. Set out the dregs of poor fellow into trouble. The sheriff may lock him for this. He warned the ironmaster that day might come when he might want a great piece of pork, and then he would get caught in the trap. The ironmaster began to laugh. He dropped the idea informing the sheriff. However, he asked the tramp to leave and open the door. Just then his daughter entered and asked her father what he was doing. That morning was quite happy. She wanted to make things for the wretch quite homelike. So she spoke in favor of vagabond. She wanted him to enjoy the day of peace with them, just one in the whole year. She knew the young girl led the stranger up to table and asked him to sit and eat. The man did not say a word, but helped himself to the food. He looked at the girl and wondered why she had intervened for him. Christmas Eve passed at Ramsjo, just as it was always had. The stranger did not cause any trouble because he did not sleep that night. They woke him up and he could have his meals. In the evening, the Christmas tree was lighted. 2 hours later, he was round once again to eat Christmas fish and porridge. After getting up from the table, he went around and said thank you and good night to everyone present. The girl told him that suit he wore was the Christmas present and he did not have to return it. If he wanted to spend that next evening with them in peace, he would be welcomed back again. The man with the rat traps did not answer. He only stared at the young girl in limitless amazement. The next morning, the ironmaster and his daughter got up early and went to Christmas service. They drove back at about 10 o'clock. The young girl sat and hung her head, even more dejectedly than usual. At church, she had learned that old crofter of the iron works had been robbed by a man who went around selling rat traps. The ironmaster feared that the man might have stolen any silver spoon from the cupboard. As the wagon stopped at the front steps, the ironmaster asked the wallet about the stranger. The wallet told him that stranger had left. He has not taken anything with him at all, but he had left a package of Christmas present for Miss Williamson. On opening the package, she gave a little cry of joy. She felt a small rat trap. In it lay 3 wrinkled 10-kroner notes. There were also a letter addressed to her. He did not want to be embarrass her or get embarrassed as a thief, but he wanted to act as a captain. He requested her to return the money to the old man on the roadside, who had money pouch hanging on the window frame as a bait for the poor wanderers. The rat trap was a Christmas present from a rat who would have been caught in world's rat trap if he had not been raised to captain, because in that way he got power to clear himself. So this is how our chapter ends. I just hope you have understood the chapter well. Thank you.